Okay, now the fun stuff, the electronics. I've got the box opened up. It's on hinges on the bottom and the top, and I've got the power supplies disconnected. Of course, they're unplugged at the wall. So they just plug in up here. They're just piggybacked. So you got. I'm just going to list off the components to begin with, and then if I have time, I'll get into some of the tricky stuff. There's only a couple of tricky things, I guess. Actually, one of them I can't even think of, but maybe it'll come to me. Anyway, I've got 4 power supplies. They're 60 volt, 6 amp each. And I start off with a 36 volt system, smaller drivers, and just 2 36 volt drives. I think they were 10 amps each, 11 amps, something like that. And it just wasn't fast enough, and that will determine how fast you can make the machine go. So I upgraded since I first made this machine. Like I said, then I've got these drivers. These drivers can handle 80, 85 volts, something like that, 8.5, 9 amps. And you set all that with jumpers, but there's lots of videos on that, so I'm not going to get into that. I've got an intake fan with the filter on it, emergency stop switch above it. Like I said, the drivers, that's just a looks like it's a high voltage ground bus, and this is a low voltage. This is a ground bus for this side of the breakout board, because they all get kind of piled into this one spot, so I brought it out here, and so I can just screw into the various spots instead of bunching all in there. Yeah, the breakout board, like I said, it's $6. That's all it is. It does control the VFD using the variable voltage from 0 to 10 volts out. The VFD, like right here, I think this is 12 volts. Yeah, nope, this isn't 12 volts in. Over here is 12 volts in. Anyway, the VFD, this is high voltage, 220. This is the lower voltage, the 120. And that's them coming in. I have an exhaust fan also. And of course my switches. Those are breakers. And then I've got my power strip for my computer, monitor, keyboard up there, mouse. I've got stepper motors, of course, and the, what is it, a 2.2 kilowatt, something like that, high voltage 3-phase spindle. Steppers, switches, limit switches, wires. So that's the components. Now, to get into the wires, I was having trouble finding wires that were shielded, that were cheap enough to buy. So I ended up making my own. What I did was I bought wire that was, say if I needed, for example, these stepper lines. There's 4 wires for it. If you come under here, see there's 4 wires. Now those aren't coming down from the motor, they're not shielded, but after you come off the motor, I have the 4 wires, plus I have an extra one wound in there. And what I did was I took aluminum foil tape and I wrapped it around the wires, and then I just electrical taped it. So it's another redneck fix. The single wire, the big black one there, it comes up. It all comes up. All of them come up through this hole right here, through the railing, and the wires coming from the stepper are coming right through there. But that black one is actually coming in right here and grounding out to the motor. Probably unnecessary, but can't hurt. I've done that on all the motors. Let's see if you can. I don't really see it up there. Where is it at? There it is on the far side. It's got a bare wire coming down into this wire back here that I created as a shielded wire. It's a grounded shielded wire. So I did that. I did the same thing with this. There's only 3 connectors in here that you'll connect to, but the connector has 4 pins. But only 3 of them are used in the motor. The other 1 pin, though, is conductive to the case of the motor. So I took that conductive one, that grounded one, and I ran it to through the shielded cable that I created, and I believe it's on this strip of high voltage ground, because it goes to the breaker box over there as a the earth ground. So that is actually earth grounded, same as this, same as that. Or actually, I don't know if I have that actually earth grounded. This is, I don't think this is, but everything else is. So here's the stepper wires come in through the back plate back there, the back wall, and then they're going through a choke to help knock down any RF interference. And then they go into the regular setup. That's, you know, like I said, you can get this information all over the internet, so I'm not going to go into it. And I got my wires. This is I think this is 120 volts. Is it? Can't see it. Yeah, it's 120 volt. So it's patched into these. And here's where the e-stop is. It goes in here, and of course the ground. So those 2 lines. And of course with the e-stop, it doesn't matter which one's which. But that's on pin 10, that's at the bottom. And the second one, the pin 11, I'm not using right now. It's going to be for the touch probe, I believe, as far as I've read and figured out. The next 3 are my limit switches, and they are hooked up in series. Like this is in series with this one, and they are, let's see, normally closed. So they go up and through there, you know, that's one of them. And then these 2 are wired in series with each other. And this one here, and there's one over here that are in series with each other. So if any of those, if this machine gets stupid and loses steps and ends up bumping into one of these walls, either one of these walls or up and down too far or anything, it'll shut off. So that's all I'm doing there. I'm not doing any homing. I'm not doing any soft limits. I'm just doing limit switches for the purpose of limits. And that's this whole side right here. That's, you got limit switches, ground for all of them. These are all the hots, if you want to look at it that way, but none of these matter. And then this shared leg. And like I said, the number 11 is not being used yet. This over here, see, I wrote this down. The bottom one, green, that goes over to the VFD, and it's for your forward. It plugs into your forward plug, and the yellow one goes to the DCM, and the next 2 are white and red, and they're actually inputs of, you can have anywhere from 12 to 24 volts, I believe. And so I've got, let's see, what do I have on that? I think think I'm pulling it in from here. Either that or that's running my fans. Must be. This is the only power supply I have. I think it's running my fans also. So it's got this line coming up and going through the wall. And like I said, I must split it and where am I? I'm not even sure all of a sudden where I've got my oh, there they are up there. Yeah, I got 12 volt positive, 12 volt negative, and these are running my fans up here. And it could be that I've split down here to this one, probably. Yeah, I can see the wires now. They go up there and plug in. So I am drawing off of that wall wart, whatever you call it. So that's the next two. The first two are going over to the VFD. These two are inputs from the 12 volts in. And then the next two are the outputs of that the Mach 3 will control and convert your RPM that you desire into a voltage range from 0 to 10 volts. And those are the red and black ones. And it's the, what do we got? The black is on top, I think. Yeah. The black is on top, and then the black goes to ACM, and the red goes to V1. I'm gonna give you a quick shot of that if I can stand on my head here. Well, that's what I've got wired there. And down below, I have the high voltage. Yeah, I forget. It was a little bit of a trick because, let's see. This is the input right here. 2 legs of 120 each. The ground came in. That's the trick. The 2 legs are here, and the ground's way over there. The earth ground. So the third leg of the high voltage is way over there. And then you have the output to your spindle here, these 3. And you have to figure that out for your rotation and all that stuff. And you go through you get this out, you can get this information out there in YouTube land, but when you first turn this on, you get it wired up, you get your spindle wired up where you can turn it on. I think even before that, you have to preset this stuff to a certain point, and then maybe when you wire it up, I can't remember, but you have to go through these different parameters that you have to set. Once you do all that, it still won't work, and it took me a little while to read the correct post, but here's the trick. There's a jumper. Where's it at? Oh, here it is. It's a jumper right up here. And it was in the right, it's got 3 prongs coming out. And it was in the right side. And when it's over to the right, if you pull that out, go over to the right a little, plug it back in, it will only work manually. So to get it to work with the Mach 3 software, you have to put that from here to there. And that took a little bit of reading because there was people showing how to program this, but they never said that. It seems like there's something else, but I just can't remember what it was. If there is, I'll post another video supplemental, but I think that's it. I think that's all the hard part. Oh, I'll do another video on the settings, on the Mach 3 settings, pinouts and all that stuff, and explain what it means to, where the pins are. Like you have to report where these pins are and these pins over here. I think even a little bit of this stuff over here. And it's a little tricky. So I want a record of that for my future use. And that's it. Thank you very much.